Welcome to Lessons from Life, the podcast that gleans profound life lessons from everyday life stories.
Hosted by Dustin Fenton and Brandon Hill.
Hello, listeners. This week, I have a friend of mine from the university that I work at. He's one of our students, and he's been someone who's really inspired me and given me a lot to think about. His name is Mason Metzger, and he has a great story to share. So I think I'm just going to let him have most of the show this week, and we'll see what happens. Mason, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so thank you so much for having me today. It's truly an honor to be able to share my story through your podcast. I am a junior at Indiana Wesleyan University. I'm studying human communication and leadership studies. I'm also a professional motivational speaker and also an accessibility consultant, and I've spoken to over 70 audiences since my dream to become a motivational speaker took flight in 2014. And shortly before my first birthday, I was diagnosed with Spastic Cerebral Palsy. And so that's in essence where my story comes from. And instead of referring to my disability as a disability, I refer to it as a specialized challenge, because my philosophy is, or my line of thinking is, that I have challenges just like any other able-bodied person. And so it's a specialized challenge, it's not a disability. And I came up with the term specialized challenge because the term disability or other terms to describe a disability such as handicapped or impaired have a negative connotation to them. But when you think about a disability as a specialized challenge, for me especially, it shifts my mindset to a more positive way of thinking. And my mission in life is to inspire and equip all people to be a shining light to the world by sharing my story. So being a part of your podcast allows me to live my mission, and so it's really awesome. And so another part of my philosophy on disability is the fact that I have a unique lens, and we all have unique lenses in life. And as I was thinking through what to share tonight, the primary thing that came to my mind was the fact that each one of us listening to this podcast has a unique sphere of influence, and we all have unique gifts, talents, and skills. So part of my purpose in life is to inspire and equip others to utilize their gifts, talents, and skills to make an impact within their spheres of influence. And part of me making an impact within my sphere of influence is paving the way for other people with specialized challenges through the use of teamwork as well as a growth mindset. And one of the driving forces behind who I am is helping others to grow and persevere, and recognizing that my specialized challenge is a vessel that God can use to bring glory to His kingdom through my experiences, and then I'm able to help others because of those experiences. So that's a little bit about my story.
Thanks for sharing that, Mason. I understand you've been able to speak in some pretty cool places. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, so I've spoken to over 70 audiences since 2014, and two of my favorite ones that I'm blessed to have had the opportunity to speak in is back in January of 2017. I was able to speak at the Indiana House of Representatives, and then the second speaking engagement that stands out in my mind is in March of 2017, I was asked to travel to Tulsa, Oklahoma by the Christ and Youth Conference. And they did a video of my story that they then shared with 30,000 high school students from all over America that summer. And so those are the two that stand out in my mind currently.
Well, that's really cool. I don't know if I've ever shared this story with you, but a couple of months ago, I think you spoke to a group of fifth and sixth graders at a local elementary school.
Yep.
And one of the parents who happened to be there for your talk said it was just amazing because, every time they have assembly, they're all talking, not paying attention. And he said when you spoke, it was the first time that he had seen all the kids become extremely quiet and fully engaged in listening. And I think that speaks to your ability really to command an audience and help them to listen and understand. And you have just such an encouraging message. A couple of months ago, I think you won a special award. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
So in 2019, the International Council for Exceptional Children chose me to receive their award in the category of self-advocacy. So I was able to go to Indianapolis, and Dr. Hill actually got to be there too, so that was really cool. And the Council for Exceptional Children, for those listeners that don't know, is a association of educators that work toward getting kids with disabilities equal rights and opportunity, whether they be in kindergarten all the way through higher education. And so being able to go in front of all of the attendees at the conference and share a little bit about my story was really cool. And during the day that I accepted the award, I also got to participate in a panel discussion after the primary event about just what it's like living with a specialized challenge. So that was a really cool opportunity too.
Yeah, that was a fun experience to be a part of with you. You were sharing with me recently that you've had some athletic opportunities. I think I saw some pictures of you water skiing. Is that true?
Yep, that's one of my favorite hobbies. So I water ski with an organization called Camp WAC, which is an organization that was founded by a group of physical and occupational therapists. They're based out of Lafayette, Indiana, and it's just really cool to be able to experience water sports similar to an able-bodied person. And then another one of my hobbies is cycling. And so rather than the traditional cycling, which uses your legs, all my strength is in my upper body. So I'm able to propel the bike using my arms rather than my legs. And so that's my primary source of cardio. So it's awesome too.
Yeah, and what's the longest bike ride that you've taken?
So on like outdoor cycling, my personal record is 10 miles, and then
Okay.
in the gym, my personal record is 20 miles.
Wow. My guess is that most of our listeners have never done either one of those things.
It's a really fun way to stay active. And the cool part about the recreation center at IWU is that they have that machine for me to use.
Mm-hmm.
And so it allows me to take my physical health seriously and to do the training in the winter time so that in the summertime and the warmer months, I'm able to drive when I get out on my actual bicycle. And that's one aspect of inclusion in the rec center that I really appreciate.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Well, Mason, normally on this podcast, Dustin and I share some lessons that we've learned from people's stories, but I think you're sharing all the lessons with us right now, and I don't have to recap those. So I just want to thank you for spending some time with us on this podcast. I want to thank you for the inspiration that you've been to me and to all of the people around you. You really do help us to see our lives in a new light, and help us to realize that we all, to some extent, have some specialized challenges that we have to engage with and grow through.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Lessons from Life. We hope that you have learned a lesson today that will help you to be more fulfilled in life's journey. If you were inspired by today's episode, please subscribe and review. You can find Lessons from Life at lessonsfromlifeforyou.com. That is with the number 4 and the letter U. You can also find links to all of our social media on our website. We would love to hear the valuable lessons that you have learned from your life experiences.